During the Clone Wars, Jedi Master Halsey and his Padawan Knox were dispatched to the sacred temple of Eedit on the planet Deveron with the goal of protecting the ancient site from the advancing battle droid forces. Unfortunately, during the battle, Count Dooku's new apprentice, Savage Opress, arrived and slaughtered all of the clone troopers guarding the temple before moving on to Master Halsey and brutally stabbing him through the chest, ending his life. At Master Halsey's funeral, however, an absolutely crazy set of events went down, which were cut from the series. So, let's find out what happened at Master Halsey's funeral. Before we get into it, make sure you're subscribed for more awesome Star Wars lore content. The story begins at a local funeral home on Coruscant, where Master Halsey's funeral pyre is being delivered to the Jedi for his ceremony later that day. Obi-Wan immediately thanks the director of the Coruscant Funeral Service for delivering the pyre, and is tearful as he tells the Weequay that Halsey was one of the most valiant Jedi of the Order. The director claims that he is very sorry for Kenobi's loss, but is afraid that he will still have to sign off and do some paperwork before the transaction is complete. Obi-Wan is upset that even in the saddest of times, paperwork must still be done, but before he can even put his hollow pen to the pad, he notices some strange behavior off in the distance. He sees two of the Weequay workers opening Master Halsey's funeral pyre and loading a single mysterious green object in there. Because of the distance, Obi-Wan can't quite tell what the green object is, but considering that these guys are putting anything inside of a funeral pyre, it can't be a good sign. Obi-Wan demands that the two Weequay workers drop the objects and put their hands up, igniting his glowing blue lightsaber in an instant. The two workers of course refuse this, leaving Obi-Wan with no choice but to kick them in the head, knocking them right to the ground, before demanding that they tell him what the objects are. Unfortunately, however, Obi-Wan is then brutally hit in the back, knocking the Jedi Master to the ground and leaving him unconscious. The funeral company director then stands menacingly over Obi-Wan's unconscious body, telling his two workers, "I don't know which of you is the bigger fool, you two or that meddling Jedi." If these two workers had just been slightly more discreet while inserting the device into the coffin, Obi-Wan wouldn't have even suspected a thing. Now the entire operation is so much more complicated, and the killing of a Jedi is certainly not going to go unnoticed for too long. Following this, the Weequays drag Obi-Wan's body up, and the director tells his workers that to both kill him and conceal his body would put them quite far behind schedule. So instead of that, his plan is to do both at the same time. They're going to throw him into the engine vents of the ship. This would both kill him and destroy his body instantly. The Weequays then bind Obi-Wan's body and mummify him, before one of the other workers places the device from earlier on top of him. As the Weequay director closes the coffin, he excitedly tells the others that the Jedi will be too busy mourning their lost comrade to realize their own doom will be sealed as soon as the funeral pyre ignites their little device. And this time, instead of naming clone troopers, let's give some names to the three Weequay criminals. I'm sure you guys can come up with some pretty great names for these bozos. Sometime after, Obi-Wan regains consciousness and is completely shocked, seeing only darkness and having no idea where he is. Obi-Wan is in a complete daze, wondering where on Coruscant he could be. His memories of what happened are slowly coming back to him, but for now he's completely clueless to who or what put him in this situation. Moments after he wakes up from the coffin violently rocking, he is thrown into the engine vents of the Weequay funeral ship before realizing just how much danger he is in. The director finally exclaims, "Another day, another credit," before pressing the large green button to begin the engine ignition process. Moments after he does this, light fills the engine vents, which leaves Obi-Wan in a deep panic, before very quickly realizing what exactly is happening. In his panic and fear, he begins trying to force his cuffs to break open, summoning all of his strength to do so. He very soon realizes, however, that this is not the way. If he channels his anger into strength, he will touch the dark side, something that he believes must be avoided by all Jedi, even in their worst moments. If Obi-Wan is to survive this, he needs to dive deeply into the Force and not have even a single moment of hesitation. Obi-Wan focuses all of his life essence on the Force and casts away any of his fear, any panic or any anger to fully call on the light side of the Force. After completely focusing on the light side of the Force, he is able to use it to prop himself up and blast his way out of the engine vent only seconds before the raging hot flame would have killed him and disposed of his body just like the Weequays wanted. Obi-Wan is incredibly relieved that he managed to survive that situation and thanks the Force for guiding him, but soon realizes that there are no transports nearby and his comlink has been taken off him. So the only way he's going to warn the Jedi Order about the impending trap is to leap out of the building. Obi-Wan then leaps thousands of feet down from one of Coruscant's tallest skyscrapers before falling onto a passing car. Now what movie does that remind you of? He is about to ask a citizen to take him to the Jedi Temple, but quickly notices it nearby and instead just jumps right out of the car, plummeting another huge amount of distance to the surface of Coruscant. Obi-Wan then continues this maneuver, skydiving from car to car and apologizing to each citizen he lands on, eventually aiming himself directly at the Jedi Temple courtyard. In his final approach, Obi-Wan tells himself, well, as Anakin always says, the landing is the trickiest part. As this is going on, other members of the Jedi Council, along with Ahsoka and Anakin, are waiting beside Master Halsey's funeral pyre for the ceremony to start. While they are waiting, they hear a voice getting louder and louder, until eventually, Obi-Wan manages to land himself directly in front of Mace Windu, who is completely stunned. Obi-Wan then does something that truly disgusts the other Jedi. He rips open Master Halsey's funeral pyre, leading Mace Windu to shout out, "Master Kenobi, what is the meaning of this?" But Obi-Wan doesn't have time to explain the situation or why the other Jedi are in so much danger. Obi-Wan immediately removes the device that the Weequays placed in the coffin earlier, before casting it up into the air with the Force. As the device is high up above the rest of the Jedi, a large cloud of gas emanates from it, surrounding the entire area. Master Yoda then quickly recognizes it as dioxis gas, a substance that would have easily killed even the strongest Jedi with as much exposure as they were about to receive. Master Yoda recognizes that the entire council, plus Anakin and Ahsoka, would have been killed if Obi-Wan hadn't foiled the plan. Anakin and Ahsoka then travel with Obi-Wan back to the funeral house, where Obi-Wan was trapped inside of the coffin, and confront the Weequays. After performing aggressive negotiations with the Weequays, Obi-Wan and Anakin very quickly determine that these guys don't actually work for the funeral company that they said they did. Instead, they are separatists in disguise, using forged credentials to attempt a mass assassination of the Jedi Order. They were sent by General Grievous with the hopes of performing a precise and early strike against the Jedi Order. As usual, however, Grievous failed in his plan by a pretty stupid mistake, trusting Weequays. These guys took a shortcut by trying to kill and destroy Obi-Wan's body in the same action, instead of taking the time to do it the right way. And to end the story, all of the Jedi return to the temple courtyard for Master Halsey's memorial service, ready to finally put their good friend to rest. Obi-Wan states that they may now continue the service for Master Halsey, and being used as a simple chess piece to slay his fellow Jedi would have grieved his soul badly. Master Windu adds, perhaps his soul will rest easier, Obi-Wan, knowing that you prevented that. Finally, the Jedi Temple guards light the funeral pyre of Master Halsey, and the other Jedi pay their respects for the fallen master and his Padawan Knox. I do wonder why we didn't see Knox's coffin being burnt alongside his master's, but maybe we'll find out in another comic. Let me know down below if you think this story should have been featured in the Clone Wars series. I think it would have been a great follow-up to what we saw in the Clone Wars Season 3. So those are the ridiculous events that took place at the funeral of Roonan Halsey. Let me know down below if you want to see more stories that tie into the episodes of the Clone Wars TV series. There are actually quite a few of these, so just tell me down below if you want to know any of the backstories of the episodes you loved. There's also a story of exactly how Darth Maul went from getting cut down on Naboo all the way to being trapped on Lotho Minor. So I'll definitely cover that in the very near future if you guys want to know exactly how that went down. Thanks so much for watching, really hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to leave a like down below for more content like this. Cheers guys, hope to see you in the next one.